There's an almost universal belief that achieving your goals has to be hard. If you're not hating every second of what you're doing, or you don't have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, then you're not making progress. This just simply isn't true. If you've clicked on this video, you're probably familiar with this 6-step cycle. Step 1, you set a new goal. Step 2, you start working towards said goal. Step 3, for some reason you stop working on your goal. But that's okay, you'll come back to it. Step 4, you don't come back to it. Step 5, you forget your goal. And step 6, refer to step 1. If you're anything like me, you have a graveyard of hobbies, interests, and pursuits that you promise that you'll get back to one day, only to find that one day never arrives. I recently read YouTuber Ali Abdaal's new book, Feel Good Productivity, and I learned a whole new model for goal setting, and I think it's really going to help a lot of people. You see, the world will tell you that the reason you haven't accomplished your goals is because you're lazy and undisciplined. You'll tell yourself that if you could only muster up a little more motivation, you'd be able to achieve everything that you set out to do. The truth is though, the reason most of us don't learn to play the guitar, can't maintain an exercise routine, or don't finish those books on the shelf isn't because we're lazy. It's because we're not using the right framework to set our goals in the first place. In fact, most of us don't use any framework at all. We just say something like, my goal is to learn French. The problem of using such a blanket statement is that it's way too ambiguous. You want to learn French? Reading or writing? When will you learn it? How will you learn it? At what point would you have achieved learning French? I'm not a gambling man, but without having the answers to those questions before setting the goal, my guess would be that ambition is going straight to the graveyard. Now, any framework is better than no framework, and I'm sure we've all heard of the corporate favorite, SMART goals. These are goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. You know what else they are? Boring. The new model that Ali suggests in his book, which I think is a real game changer, is NICE, or NICE goals. Let's break down the acronym and then I'll explain why it's so transformative. First we have N, which stands for near term. Generally this means daily or weekly, but the nearer the better. Next we have I, which stands for input based. This means shifting your focus from the end result to the actual process itself. In other words, what are you actually doing as opposed to what are you trying to achieve. C is for controllable. This means making your actions easy enough that you can practically do them no matter what. Finally, we have E, which is for energizing. This just means making whatever it is you're doing fun in some way. Let's have a look at an example together. Say your goal is to start building the habit of meditating. So first we have near term. How often do I actually want to do this? Let's just say every day. Next, we have I for input based. This is where we'll think, what will I actually be doing? How about for every meditation, I will focus my attention on a different sensation, whether that be sight, smell, sound, taste, or touch. Now we've got C, which is for controllable. What's something that I can manage to do every day, no matter what? Our goal in the long run may be something like 20 or 30 minutes, but we're beginners, so let's just start with 5. Lastly, we have E, which is for energizing. How are we going to make this fun or novel? I know that I'll get bored if I just sit down, close my eyes, and try to focus on my breath. So instead, we can try and change things up a bit. For this, what I'll do is every time I meditate, I'll use a new item or environment to focus my attention on. Put this all together and we suddenly have a nice goal that reads, every day for 5 minutes, I will focus my attention entirely on a novel item or sensation. The more interesting, the better. Notice how much more exciting and enjoyable this goal sounds compared to something else like, I'm going to sit in my bedroom for half an hour every day and close my eyes focusing on my breath. Instead, now with our NICE goal, you may focus solely on the smell of your morning coffee or on the warmth of your morning shower. You could even focus entirely on the view of the night sky. As you build the habit, you can then decide if you want to be a little more traditional. But I guarantee that for those starting out, this way is going to keep you far more consistent. And with some creativity, you can do this for practically anything. Let's see what NICE looks like with other goals and compare it to traditional frameworks of goal setting. Let's say the goal is exercise. With no framework, I want to exercise. As a SMART goal, I will lose 10 kilograms within 6 months by utilizing high intensity interval training 3 times a week at the local running track. Nice goal. Every day, I will jump rope for 15 minutes while listening to a new album that I've always wanted to listen to but never gotten around to. Goal, learning the piano. No framework? I want to learn the piano. SMART goal. Based off the Royal Conservatory of Music's rankings, I will reach level 6 proficiency within 1 year by using the Hoffman method to practice 4 times a week. Nice goal. Every day for 15 minutes, I will use YouTube to practice my favorite anime piano pieces. Now I get what you're probably thinking. This is too easy, but that's the whole point. There's an almost universal belief that achieving your goals has to be hard. If you're not hating every second of what you're doing, or you don't have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, then you're not making progress. This just simply isn't true. We don't ever remain consistent with achieving our goals because our process for achieving them is unsustainable and unenjoyable. Now, I will concede there is still a time and place for SMART goals and other goal setting methods. And yes, sometimes you do just have to suck it up and put in grudgingly hard work and long hours. But for the general population who are just trying to achieve relatively normal goals, things like learning a new instrument, a new language, learning to draw, dropping a few kilos, reading or writing a book, learning to code, or becoming a better cook, nice goals are going to be the best method to keep you consistent. And at the end of the day, consistency more so than anything else is what leads to progress. Remember, your goal only gets sent to the graveyard the moment you stop working towards it. As a wise fish with Alzheimer's once said, just keep swimming. Nice goals make you swim with the current instead of against it. And with that, I'll see you next time.
All I hear, go get the money, so I go get it. Hate means I do something right, so I'ma let 'em.